before it's too late.
One species that has become a flagship species is this strange-looking creature. It may look like a cross between an alien and a rabbit, but it's not. It's a bilby. And this one lives at Endangered, another sanctuary in Western Australia. But this one is run by the state government's conservation department.
Well, I think the bilby is a classic case where you have a species that was once widespread right across Australia and now has been reduced to very small pockets to about 20% of its former range.
Dr. Chris Warren is a wildlife vet. She has worked in the field with endangered species since 1993.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing, isn't it?
Her previous patients were orangutans in Borneo, a lot different from these tiny marsupials. Professor Ralph Swan is her boss at Murdoch University in Western Australia.
There were two species of bilby, the greater and the lesser. It seems as though if bilbies are released into a suitable soil-type environment, their instinct to create burrows, as far as I'm aware, is not a problem.
He and Dr. Warren are committed to teaching veterinary students the importance of pro bono work on endangered species.
I think it's very important. I think there's ever-increasing opportunities for veterinarians to be involved with wildlife conservation, and I think it's an area that many veterinarians are interested in.
And it's this interest that has brought Chris Warren and Professor Ralph Swan to set up this bush operating theatre. As well as the bilby, there are other endangered species living behind the protection of an electric fence.
Oops, time out.
This is also the home for the beautiful numbat we met earlier.
Those babies.
The numbats have been at Endangered since the early 1990s. These wildlife officers have trapped this mother to check on her young.
So she's got 4 young.
The little ones in the mother's pouch should grow up safe from feral cats and foxes because Endangered is now clear of ferals. It's a safe haven for Australia's many marsupials. And although this battle has been won, the war is far from over, and the casualties are enormous. When you consider an average feral cat weighs 4 kilos, it needs around 300 grams of flesh a day to survive. That's the equivalent of one numbat every 24 hours. And with 10 million feral cats on the loose in Australia, that's 10 million numbat-sized animals are killed each day. If that doesn't shock you, feral cats will eat the equivalent of some 36 billion native animals every year. Australia's native animals just can't stand that kind of annihilation. Back at the field hospital, Dr. Warren and Professor Swan has a patient on the operating table. They're implanting a computer chip to make it easier for the wildlife officers to keep track of them. These animals were extinct in this area until Easter 2000, when they were reintroduced. Now, for the first time in decades, they are roaming free back where they belong. Before being released here at Endangered, these animals were bred at another wildlife sanctuary, Kangaroos, run by June Butcher.
The bilby itself is such a wonderful animal. It's so easy to handle.
And also very curious, as our infrared camera shows. June and the team at Kanyana have been breeding the bilbies for some years now, and it was their offspring that was released at Dryandra. This enclosure is where so many young bilbies have been conceived. And again our infrared camera catches a male bilby trying to mate with an unreceptive but not disinterested female. And although this young male isn't successful, according to June, it's a different story out in the wild.
And it's only in the last couple of weeks that we've heard that our releasing is working, because they've actually recaptured a mother with 2 babies. So they're actually breeding in the wild now, which is a first for WA, and we feel very excited to be involved in that project.
The bilby is becoming an Australian icon. Major corporations like BHP have got behind the plan to save this species by sponsoring the Bilby Health Project, being coordinated by Chris Warren and Ralph Swan. Similarly, at Easter time, supermarkets are replacing Easter bunnies with Easter bilbies and donating part of their take to saving this little creature.